Welcome back to our channel where coin collecting meets big money, historical secrets, and astonishing value from the tiniest pieces of metal you carry in your pocket every day. And today we're diving deep into one of the most intriguing, underrated, and mysteriously valuable coins in modern numismatic history, the 1994 D1 cent coin that has recently shocked collectors and casual hobbyists alike by being appraised and sold for up to $120 due to its unique blend of minting errors, historical oddities, and the growing buzz within the collector community about these overlooked cents that could be hiding in plain sight in change drawers, forgotten jars, or coin albums across the country. And if you've ever wondered how a single penny can transform into a valuable asset worth more than $100, then get ready because we are about to unfold the full story, every detail, every possibility, and every reason why this humble 1994 ready penny has earned its place in the spotlight of the coin world, starting from its minting background to the intricacies of its flaws that ironically make it so rare and so desirable. So let's begin with the Denver Mint, the minting facility responsible for the D mark on this coin, which in 1994 produced over 7 billion pennies, an overwhelming number that would make anyone assume that there's nothing rare or special about this particular year. But that's exactly what makes the valuable errors stand out even more, because among these billions, only a select few coins came out with strange quirks and flaws, which when verified and authenticated, have turned ordinary copper-plated zinc cents into coveted collectibles, and one of the most commonly discussed errors in the 1994 ready cent is the double die error, which occurs during the die creation process, where slight misalignment in the die hubbing causes certain details on the coin, especially on the obverse lettering, Lincoln's profile, and the date, to appear doubled, and although not every 1994 ready cent has this, those with strong doubling in areas like Liberty, the motto In God We Trust, or even the date 1994 can become extremely valuable because collectors hunt for that anomaly with keen eyes, using magnification tools to spot it, and once confirmed, these coins can sell for tens or even hundreds of dollars depending on the clarity and strength of the doubling. And moving beyond double dies, we encounter another notorious issue, off-center strikes, which are caused when a coin blank, known as a planchette, is improperly positioned when struck by the dies, resulting in a coin image that appears pushed to one side or partially missing, and in the case of the 1994 ready cent, off-center errors that still retain the full date and mint mark are exceptionally rare and desirable, with 5% to 15% off-center strikes often fetching modest premiums but anything more dramatic, especially with over 50% of the design missing but the date and D's mint mark still visible, dramatically increasing its desirability and value. And then there are broad strike errors, which happen when the collar that keeps the coin in place during striking fails, resulting in a coin that's larger in diameter with a distorted rim, and these can also bring in strong values for 1994 ready cents, especially when paired with sharp detail and no post-mint damage. And speaking of mint damage, it's crucial for collectors to distinguish true mint errors from post-mint damage caused by circulation or environmental exposure, because only legitimate mint errors contribute to a coin's numismatic value. And continuing our journey through 1994 ready cent errors, let's discuss die cracks and die breaks, which are natural results of aging and stress dies used in the striking process, and in some cases, these cracks become so prominent that they're referred to as e-cuds, where a chunk of the die actually breaks off, leaving a raised blob on the surface of the coin in a specific area. Many 1994's D cents have surfaced with cuds on the obverse near Lincoln's head or on the reverse near the Lincoln Memorial, and such features can elevate a penny's value into the $50 to $120 range if the cud is well formed and obvious. And don't overlook the less noticeable but equally intriguing die clashes, which occur when the obverse and reverse dies strike each other without a planchette between them, leaving ghost-like images of the opposing design imprinted on the die face and then transferred onto coins, creating bizarre and collectible anomalies. Some 1994 D pennies have exhibited partial Lincoln Memorial impressions on Lincoln's face or traces of Lincoln's profile showing faintly on the reverse side, and those rare hybrid-style errors mesmerize collectors and boost prices at auctions and online sales. And as we analyze deeper, we must include the well-known transitional errors, which are more often associated with earlier 1980s cents but occasionally still crop up when leftover planchets from a previous composition are accidentally used in a later year. And although rare, a 1994 D cent struck on a bronze planchette instead of the copper-plated zinc planchette would be an explosive find, potentially pushing its value into the hundreds or thousands of dollars if authenticated, and this hypothetical but plausible error keeps treasure hunters digging through rolls of pennies with metal analyzers and precision scales, because a zinc cent weighs about 2.5 grams while a bronze cent weighs around 3.1 grams, and such a simple difference could reveal a coin worth a small fortune. And that brings us to clipped planchets, where coins appear as though someone took a bite out of them, which results from an improperly fed strip during the planchet cutting process. And while many clipped planchet coins exist across various years, those from 1994 that are cleanly clipped and show the mint mark and date intact can be especially intriguing to error collectors. And in addition to planchet errors, let's not forget the misaligned die strikes, where either the obverse or reverse die is slightly off, leading to coins that look slightly rotated or lopsided in design placement, and extreme cases of this in 1994 D pennies are rare, but when found, they spark intense bidding wars among those looking for alignment quirks. And another major category worth examining is the struck-through error, which occurs when a foreign object like a piece of cloth, grease, or metal shaving interferes with the coin during the strike, and coins struck through grease are particularly common, often resulting in weak or missing design features, such as blurry letters, ghost-like images, or missing parts of Lincoln's bust or the reverse building. And when these errors are dramatic and evident on a 1994 AD cent, they may catapult the value to 10 or 20 times face value or more, and some collectors specifically look for retained strike-throughs, where the object responsible remains embedded in the coin, adding physical evidence to the story. And then we venture into RPMs or repunched mint marks, where the Denver D is punched more than once in different positions. And although the minting process was modernized by 1994, repunched mint marks still occurred occasionally due to tooling inconsistencies, and verified RPM examples from the 1994 D run are cherished by variety collectors, especially when the two impressions of the mint mark are clearly offset and not just minor shifts. And finally, we must acknowledge the influence of eye appeal, tone, and luster, because some 1994 D pennies gain attention not because of a mechanical error but because of extraordinary visual presentation. Coins with natural rainbow toning caused by chemical reactions to the environment or storage conditions, or those that retain full red color and original mint luster despite age, can add impressive premiums to an otherwise ordinary-looking coin. And when these aesthetic traits combine with any of the aforementioned errors, such as a double die with rainbow toning or an off-center strike with blazing luster, the result is often a coin worth far more than $120, with some private sales potentially exceeding those numbers based on demand and collector enthusiasm. And all of this is happening because numismatics has evolved beyond just dates and mint marks. Today's collectors crave imperfections, stories, and uniqueness, and the 1994 D penny stands as a surprising icon of all those qualities, bridging the gap between mass production and rare collectibles, transforming what might be an overlooked coin into an object of fascination, monetary value, and historical curiosity. So if you have a 1994 AD cent tucked away in your change jar or coin folder, now might be the perfect time to take a closer look. Break out the magnifying glass, do the weight test, inspect for double dies, off-center strikes, clipped planchets, die cracks, or anything that doesn't look like the billions of other 1994 D pennies out there, because your ordinary-looking penny might just be the extraordinary treasure the coin community is talking about. And as always, thanks for joining us in exploring the hidden value of everyday currency. Don't forget to like the video, subscribe to the channel, and hit that bell icon so you never miss another exciting discovery about coins that are worth more than their face value and the incredible stories they carry. Next! Today we unravel one of the most intriguing stories in the world of coin collecting that has left experts, collectors, and enthusiasts in awe: the fascinating and valuable 1997 D Lincoln 1-cent coin that, because of its unique errors and striking mistakes, has shocked the numismatic community by commanding prices as high as $78 in private sales, online auctions, and collector marketplaces, turning what was once pocket change into a mini-fortune. And you might just have one of these hidden gems lying unnoticed in a coin jar, a dusty drawer, or even rattling around inside your old wallet. So buckle up and get ready for a deep dive into what makes this seemingly ordinary penny so incredibly extraordinary, as we peel back the layers of minting anomalies, rare die varieties, and striking imperfections that can push the face value of a humble cent to an eye-popping figure. Starting first with the historical context of the 1997 D issue, which was minted in Denver and was part of the long-running Lincoln Cent series that began in 1909, featuring the iconic portrait of President Abraham Lincoln designed by Victor David Brenner, and this particular year's production was massive, with the Denver Mint producing well over 4 billion coins, which would normally suggest that any individual coin from this run would be extremely common and of minimal value. But as with many stories in numismatics, the truth lies not in the common but in the uncommon, and in this case, the errors and mistakes that occurred during the minting process elevated certain coins from mere currency to collectible artifacts, with error types ranging from the subtle to the dramatic, and perhaps most famously, the off-center strikes which, depending on the degree of misalignment, can be worth significant amounts if enough of the coin's details are still visible. And collectors especially prize those off-center errors that still include the full date and mint mark, as that confirms its identity and origin while also showcasing the error in full display. Then we have the double die errors, most notably those affecting the obverse where Lincoln's profile, the words "In God We Trust," "Liberty," and the date 1997 appear slightly duplicated due to a misalignment during the die hubbing process, creating a ghost-like appearance that collectors go wild for because it captures a moment of mechanical imperfection that slipped past quality control and made its way into circulation. And sometimes even more subtle doubling on Lincoln's eye or mouth is enough to command premium value. Then there are the repunched mint marks or RPMs, which are a particular fascination for those who specialize in varieties, where the th mint mark was punched more than once and appears slightly offset or shadowed under magnification. And this seemingly minor detail can dramatically increase a coin's desirability among specialists who document every known RPM variant and assign rarity levels. Accordingly, then we come to die cracks and die chips, which occur when the dies used to strike the coins develop fractures or breaks, often leading to raised metal lines or blobs on the finished coin, and while these can be relatively common in heavily used dies, certain dramatic die cracks that span across Lincoln's face or forehead, often called cuds when they occur near the rim, are highly prized, especially if they create interesting visual patterns or appear in limited numbers. And then we consider the wide AM and close AM varieties found on reverse designs. Although primarily associated with coins minted in the early 90s and 2000s, some 1997 D examples have shown anomalies in spacing between the A and M in America on the reverse, and while not officially documented as major varieties, any deviation from the standard spacing draws attention from vigilant collectors who are always on the hunt for transitionals and die state evolutions, adding another layer of value and mystique. And let's not forget about planchette errors, where the copper-plated zinc planchets themselves were flawed, leading to coins with bubbling surfaces, lamination peels, or improper alloy mixtures that create toning effects or structural anomalies, and such planchette issues often create coins that look unique and can be highly appealing to collectors who value the aesthetic quirks that come from metallurgical errors. Then there's the rare but spectacular brokerage errors, where a previously struck coin gets stuck to a die and leaves an incuse mirror image on the next coin struck, essentially turning one coin into a stamping tool for another, creating ghostly reverses or obverses that can dramatically boost the value of an otherwise regular-looking cent. And there's also the broad strike error, where coins are struck outside the confines of the collar that normally shapes their diameter, leading to wider, flattened edges that are clearly distinguishable from standard cents, often appearing as though the coin was squashed or stretched and yet retaining all the essential design features, making them perfect showpieces for error collectors. And even more obscure are clash marks, where the dies strike each other without a planchette in place, leaving impressions of one die onto the other, and when the next coins are struck, those clash marks show up as phantom designs in unexpected places like Lincoln's shoulder or within the memorial columns on the reverse, offering another variant that drives collectors wild with curiosity and bidding wars. And beyond the mechanical minting errors lies the realm of visual uniqueness that also contributes to value, including natural toning caused by exposure to environmental elements which can create rainbow hues or blue, red, or purple surfaces that are attractive and often command high premiums if the toning is even and eye-appealing. And when such toning is paired with an error or rare variety, the value skyrockets because now you have a dual anomaly that is both aesthetically unique and mechanically rare, and this blend of rarity, condition, and historical context is what makes a 1997 D penny worth far more than 1 cent, especially in pristine condition graded by professional services like PCGS or NGC, where even without an error, high-grade examples in MS67 or higher condition are rare and desirable. But with errors, even lower grades can reach incredible figures, and online auction records and collector forums are filled with stories of 1997 D pennies selling for $78 or more simply because of unique features that make them stand out in a sea of billions, and in many cases it's the cumulative effect of multiple small errors on a single coin, a light off-center strike paired with a minor die crack and attractive toning, that together justify a much higher market price than face value. And this is why it's so important for anyone interested in coin collecting or treasure hunting to carefully examine their change, using tools like magnifying glasses, jeweller's loupes, and even USB microscopes to spot these minute but valuable details, because what seems like an ordinary coin might actually be a tiny fortune hiding in plain sight. And the story of the 1997 AD cent proves once again that minting errors are not just mistakes, they're opportunities for history to manifest in physical form. And they bridge the world of mechanical precision with the unpredictable reality of flawed production. And each error tells a story of a moment in time when the machine slipped, the die cracked, the press misaligned, and a one-of-a-kind coin was born, unnoticed by the busy workers at the Denver Mint but destined to find new life as a treasured collectible in the hands of someone sharp-eyed enough to spot its secrets. And if you find a 1997 D cent with one or more of these features, doubling, die cracks, off-center strikes, RPMs, clash marks, brockages, planchette issues, or unusual toning, don't toss it back into circulation, because it might be worth examining further, having appraised, or even submitting for professional grading. And as with all collectibles, condition and rarity determine value, so those that are well preserved or have extreme examples of errors fetch higher premiums. And now that you know the possibilities that lie hidden in this copper-plated zinc marvel from 1997, you can join the community of enthusiasts who find excitement and satisfaction in tracking down these miniature pieces of flawed perfection. So next time you come across a penny dated 1997 with a tiny D under the date, pause and look closer, because the difference between 1 cent and $78 might just be a twist of fate, a fracture in a die, a double image barely perceptible to the naked eye, or an imperfection that makes it absolutely perfect in the eyes of a collector. And as always, we hope you enjoyed this deep exploration into the 1997 D Lincoln cent and its surprising value potential. And if you love this kind of rare coin content, make sure to like this video, subscribe to our channel for more deep dives into hidden treasures of American currency, and tap the bell so you never miss a story that could change the way you look at your loose change forever. Today we dive into one of the most fascinating and unexpected discoveries in the world of coin collecting, a simple 2015 AD Lincoln 1 cent coin that, under certain extraordinary conditions, has been found to carry a value of up to $29 due to rare and collectible errors and mistakes that occurred during its minting process, making it an item of considerable intrigue and value among numismatists and hobbyists alike. And by the end of this deep exploration, you'll come to see why something so small, so seemingly insignificant, and so common in everyday transactions can become a prized possession for those in the know. So sit back and immerse yourself in a story that blends American minting history, production flaws, scarcity, and passionate collector demand into a tale that proves once again how hidden gems lie in plain sight, especially in your pocket change. Now let us begin by contextualizing the 2015 D Lincoln penny, minted at the Denver Mint, one of the most productive and historically significant mints in the United States, which is known not just for its sheer volume of coins but also for producing certain runs where quality control occasionally lets slip some highly noticeable errors that drive up the value of the coin due to rarity and collectability. And this particular year, 2015, saw a number of such occurrences, particularly involving planchette flaws, die cracks, misalignments, double dies, and other striking anomalies, starting with one of the most sought after and commonly documented errors being the double die obverse, where Lincoln's profile, inscriptions like "In God We Trust," "Liberty," and the date 2015 appear to have been struck twice, creating a ghost-like duplication or blurry outline effect that is very visible even without magnification and dramatically increases the desirability of the coin, as collectors are constantly on the hunt for double dies due to their visual impact and connection to a striking error during the production phase at the mint. And these double dies are formed when the working die is misaligned or impressed more than once at slightly different angles during the hubbing process, leading to permanent duplication on every coin it then strikes, meaning any coin struck with that flawed die carries the same anomaly and thus becomes part of a rare subset within the already finite number of 2015 AD Lincoln cents. Another major error comes from off-center strikes, where the coin was not properly aligned within the collar during the minting process, resulting in a coin that might have up to 5% to 90% of its design missing or shifted to one side, with the higher off-center percentages, especially those that still retain visible parts of the date and mint mark, fetching the highest prices, as these are visually stunning and make for incredible showcase pieces within any era collection. Furthermore, another important and unusual variation includes broad strikes and coins that were struck without the restraining collar, causing the metal to expand outward in a flat, circular, and more oval-like form, often with distorted legends and devices, which again contribute significantly to their rarity and collectible appeal. Then there are the clipped planchette errors, where the metal strip from which blank planches are punched might result in overlapping cuts, leaving the finished coin with crescent-shaped missing sections, a defect that's immediately identifiable and incredibly popular with both beginning and advanced collectors because it represents a dramatic departure from the norm, and when this is combined with a visible date and mint mark, the price can jump significantly, especially when it is a partial clip or double clip with curvature on multiple edges. Now let's talk about the die break errors, also known as cuds, where a portion of the die cracks and breaks away, causing a raised, blob-like area of metal on the coin where no detail exists, typically along the rim or across Lincoln's portrait, and these are fascinating to collectors because they are progressive. The break starts small and grows as more coins are struck, and the larger the cud, the rarer the coin. Then there's also the concept of die clash, an error that results from the obverse and reverse dies striking each other without a planchette in between, causing a ghostly imprint of each design to be transferred to the opposing die and then subsequently to the struck coins, producing eerie and interesting clash marks that show elements of the reverse design on the obverse and vice versa, often visible in Lincoln's shoulders or the field around the Lincoln Memorial or shield on the reverse depending on the year's reverse design, and when these clash marks are prominent and unpolished, they are highly desirable, but equally interesting are the so-called BIE errors, which are die cracks between the letters B and E in Liberty, forming what looks like a capital I in between, and though these are smaller errors, they are specifically collected by error specialists and even categorized into known varieties, with some even being tracked by the frequency of their appearances and used in die marriage studies. And then we must talk about the transitional errors or planchette anomalies, where coins are struck on incorrect metal compositions, sometimes leftover blanks from previous years or foreign planches that were accidentally mixed into the production line, and though such errors are extremely rare in modern coins like the 2015 AD, examples have been found where zinc cents were mistakenly struck on copper planches or on experimental stock, and these errors must be verified through weight and metallurgical testing, but once authenticated, they command exceptional prices, and even among standard planches, sometimes a 2015 AD cent can exhibit improper alloy mixing, known as wood grain toning or streaking, where the surface shows uneven color patterns due to poor blending of the copper plating over the zinc core, which makes each coin visually unique and sought after by those who appreciate aesthetic errors. And then there are mechanical doubling or machine doubling issues, which although technically not true die errors, can still create a flattened doubling effect that mimics a double die and can still be desirable if it's dramatic or combined with other errors, and not to forget strike-through errors, where foreign objects such as grease, cloth, fibers, or even small metal shards interfere with the striking process and leave behind unique textures, indentations, or blank areas, and depending on their clarity and shape, these can be some of the most fascinating errors visually, and all these errors, when authenticated by third-party grading companies like PCGS or NGC, can boost the coin's value tremendously, especially if given a grade like MS65 or higher, indicating mint state and minimal handling wear, and even coins in lower conditions can be worth significantly more than face value if the error is substantial or dramatic. And then there's the collector demand aspect. 2015 AD cents are part of the Shield reverse era, which began in 2010, replacing the Lincoln Memorial reverse, and each year since then has seen various collector runs, with certain years like 2015 having an elevated presence in online auctions due to discovered varieties and error types that spread quickly through collector forums and social media, fueling demand, with some collectors attempting to build full date and mint mark error sets, thereby increasing demand for even minor varieties. And with millions of pennies passing through circulation daily, the thrill of the hunt keeps collectors constantly inspecting their change in hopes of finding that one special 2015 AD error that's been selling for $10, $20, or even $29 or more, especially as market trends show growing interest in modern mint errors, which are easier for new collectors to find and afford compared to older, rarer coins, yet can still present high upside in value due to condition and uniqueness. And while 2015 AD Lincoln cents are common in their regular form, the extraordinary comes from the unexpected: a die break here, a doubled word there, an off-center strike on a well-preserved coin, transforming these common coins into treasures of the modern minting era. So if you happen to come across a 2015 AD penny with oddities or strange features, don't dismiss it, grab a magnifier, weigh it, compare it to known error images, and consider sending it for grading, because you might just be holding a tiny piece of minting history that collectors are willing to pay a premium for. And that's the beauty of coin collecting. It's the ultimate scavenger hunt, a fusion of history, technology, artistry, and chance. And now that you've taken this deep dive with us into the world of 2015 AD Lincoln cents and their hidden value, make sure to hit that like button if you enjoyed the content, subscribe for more fascinating stories of everyday coins worth big money, and share this video with friends and family who might just have a valuable penny sitting in their pocket right now.